Hey folks, Bittersteel here. I'm back with another Hearts of Iron 4 guide for you, today as Portugal. And as Portugal, we are going to be restoring the monarchy both in Portugal and Brazil. And to top that off, I will show you how to quickly restore the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. So let's dive right into it. Select Portugal, Iron Man on, Historical on, and first order of business. Let's get our army gathered up. We do have quite a few divisions. Most are garbage, but we have a lot of them, which will be key for the upcoming guide. Let's rush down Estado Novo. Production-wise, does not really matter at this point, but to set us up for the future, some civilian factories. Let's build some convoys and some subs. This is the easiest way to get more ships out quickly. Research-wise, let's just work towards our industry in future. Set you up for the late game. Let's pick our best offensive general, Raul. And tie him to a field marshal. Set your army to shift exercise, so they stop when they reach level 3. And you can do that in Lisbon. Set the game speed to level 3. And now we wait for the focuses to fire. We're gonna change out our production from support equipment to towed artillery. They will be more useful in future wars. For the one to restore the empire does not matter, but look to the future. Plus, it requires tungsten, and we have so much of it anyway. So we head down the royal wedding, then Duarte, and then some more good focuses to restore the monarchy. First bit of political power. We can expend that on free trade, which is a bit of a niche. Most countries would pick up advisor, but as Portugal, this is the easy way to get 5% construction speed, 5% research speed, and factory output in exchange for just losing some resources to market. And we have 290 tungsten. I think we can afford to lose some of that tungsten. So free trade it is. Research-wise, we'll head down dispersed industry. For a country like Portugal that does not have a massive industrial base to start with, this is the best path forward. Concentrated is only really useful for nations like the US or the Soviet Union that start with a large industrial base in place. And we have finished the royal wedding. Now we can get towards the return of Duarte. And some more political power. Let's spend it on the traditional theorist, get political power and daily support for unaligned. With our army trained up, we can remove their orders and set new orders. Going to garrison them in this little tile here, because we will be intervening in Brazil soon, and this is the closest territory Portugal has to it. Now you'll notice I'm taking the tile next to the port instead of the port itself, simply because the port tile is jungle, which has massive attrition penalties and has a chance to get your general sick, while the tile just below the port is just forest and has none of that nonsense to it. So this is where we'll gather the troops. Let's get some electronic engineering. Like I said, none of the research really matters for the express purpose of restoring the empire, but it will help this playthrough in future wars as the late game progresses. And Duarte has returned to us. Now we're going to prepare a monarchist uprising in Brazil. This will make some changes to Brazil as it is now. The country will flip to fascist and rename to integralist Brazil, with the follow-up focus triggering a uprising by monarchist Brazil, the Empire of Brazil. If we complete this focus, it will give us access to decisions. Decisions that, in exchange for political power, will increase the support for the unaligned faction in Brazil. And should we reach either 50% stability or 70% neutrality in Brazil, and it is non-aligned, there will be no uprising, and the country will simply flip to Empire of Brazil. But that's a giant waste of time. This is a war game. We have an army. We can just make them. As you can see, Brazil right now has at most 11 divisions. At most. When a civil war fires, they will lose a few of those. Probably not many. 3, maybe 4. To the Empire of Brazil, leaving them with 8 or 9 divisions. We, however, have 18 divisions. More than enough to overwhelm their army and make that war a walk in the park. And this way we don't have to spend time and effort doing the stir monarchist sentiment in Brazil. And in preparation of that war, we're going to make some changes. I'm going to take all 3 of these cavalry divisions and set naval invasion orders for them towards the coastal victory points. So one will hit Belém. Another can start at the same port and hit Fortaleza. And our third one, same port, and they can hit the coastal city of Recife. These 3 will launch simultaneously, with the bulk of our army heading down towards Rio de Janeiro and the Minas Gerais area, as these 2 provinces will be where the imperialists spawn. This is where the Empire of Brazil will spawn. So the cavalry will rush to the north and capture these coastal points, and the infantry will reinforce the front line to the south, tying down the Brazilian army. And to ensure that we can actually make those naval landings happen, we're going to send our navy to the south, split them in half, and they will be patrolling in the Cape Verde Plain and the Demera Plain to ensure we have a naval supremacy here. Now, to conserve fuel, we don't immediately have to do these naval missions. We can park them at the Cape Verde naval base until it's time to prepare the actual invasion. So let's just conserve our fuel somewhat. More research into research speed. We only have 2 slots, so we want to make the speed high as we can. And with war on the horizon, in our next focus, it might be a good idea to pick our first support weapons here. Here we go, Monarchist uprising in Brazil. Brazil has changed to Integralist Brazil, and once we fire this one, the Empire of Brazil, a civil war will trigger, and we will intervene as Portugal. Some more political power, and we can invest that in our Captain of Industry to increase the construction speed for our civilian factories. And with the focus having about 15 days left, you can send the Navy out to ensure that you will have naval supremacy by the time you're ready to deploy your naval invasions. And with war looming, you can also improve our field marshal. We have some command power now. Let's give him the offensive doctrine and the organization trait. There we go. The Empire of Brazil is complete. Integralist Brazil has declared war on the Empire of Brazil. The Empire of Brazil down to the south here. First things first, we're going to take all of these infantry units and send them to the south and man the front line to prevent this tiny country from being overrun. Plus, the units on the front line will then draw the attention of the Brazilian army, pulling them away from these port tiles. For our next focus, promote the monarchist cause in Portugal. We can take the non-aggression pact with the Empire of Brazil. It's not really important, we'll absorb them anyway. And with our army landing and moving to the front lines, it's also time to set off our naval invasions. Shift-click the plan order and click each individual naval order. Now for the war itself, it's important to use your infantry and the numerical superiority that you have to tie down enemy divisions as much as you can and then encircle and destroy them, while aggressively pushing to always extend the line so you have the most use out of your numerical superiority. There we go. With most of the Portuguese army tied down on this front line in the south, as they are scrambling to respond to your troops being in the field, they will have left their ports undefended, meaning you can easily capture these coastal victory points and use your cavalry's speed to then link up these territories, extending the front line even more and completely confusing the enemy. Now, as you can see in the 1.9.1 patch, there is a problem with Brazil revoking your access. The easiest way to remedy this is to simply request access again and redraw your front lines and carry on from there. Now set an offensive line for your infantry towards Porto Alegre and simply have them execute it, with your cavalry just moving towards these coastal victory points. I believe only São Salvador is left, and the rest of these troops will then simply try to link up the territory. And you can see in the first days of the war, we have already pushed integralist Brazil over 90% of the way towards capitulation. Research-wise, let's focus on our industry. There we go. By capturing these coastal cities and then taking a bit more territory, we have forced the integralists to capitulate. The Empire of Brazil is victorious with our military assistance, and it's only February of 1937. We did not waste anything on those decisions, so we have come out of this quite well. Now, to make Portugal itself great again. We can also withdraw the navy now, conserve fuel. And we are done promoting the monarchist cause in Portugal. Now to head towards the restoration of the monarchy. Now, before you click this and finish the focus, be aware that if your stability is below 40% when it finishes, a civil war will start. So only do this one after you've completed your war with Brazil, or if you're about to complete your war with Brazil within the 70 days for the focus to fire. If you don't manage that, quickly take either army reorganization or continue the public works in between to give you a bit more time. But we don't need that, so 70 days, restoration of the monarchy. More research into the industry. There we go, restoration of the monarchy. We are now once again the Kingdom of Portugal. And now for the pièce de résistance, the kingdom reunited. This will see us absorb the Empire of Brazil into the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. More industry research. And get ourselves some recon companies. Recon is very good in this expansion. It gives you an incredible bonus to your general picking the right tactics for the moment. And for political power, let us choose the financial expert and that consumer goods bonus. There we go. Brazil accepts the unification, the kingdom reunited. This strengthens Portugal. There we have the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. Suddenly we have a lot more factories. To demonstrate, there we go, 19 civilian factories, military factories. Also up from 2, we now have 12, I believe. Yes, 12. And we are in a great position moving forward. In your game, if you want to continue from this, either go towards Remember Olivença and deal with fascism. After Spain finishes its civil war as the nationalists, you can see they are now non-aligned. About a year after they complete the civil war, they will flip to fascist ideology and you will be able to declare war on them. So you have some time to build up your military through the Focus's army reorganization and the industrial trees here to get you more military factories. Or if that is not your cup of tea and you like playing non-historical, you can go towards this side of the tree and assist the Carlists should they rise up. This will allow you to enter the Spanish Civil War a little bit sooner, both first by offering support and some support in the way of equipment and volunteers, and later outright joining the war and creating a Iberian faction with the two of you in it, and then also heading down Deal with Fascism to give you a casus belli on either Italy or Germany and giving you a way into the World War II scenario. But this has been my guide for the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. As you can see, July 14th, 1937, and the world is our oyster. If you liked the video, leave a like. Tell me in the comments if you want to see more guides like this. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. Tell me what I did wrong in the comments. Always looking for some more feedback. And I will see you in the next one. This has been me, Bitter Steel. Goodbye.